This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bluecollar Bodybuilding Podcast. Today I'm here with a really cool guest, Malik. He's joining the podcast to talk bodybuilding. He's a competitive bodybuilder. He just got done competing, and he's doing this from a position that most people honestly can't fully understand unless they've lived it. He uses a wheelchair, competes in the wheelchair division. But what stood out to me wasn't just that he competes in the chair. It's the fact that he still chooses bodybuilding as a sport out of anything, and preps for the shows, suffer through the process, puts himself out there like any other competitor. So before we get into the show and the prep and the training, I just want to introduce Malik to everybody and give a little background. And if you're comfortable sharing, we'd love to just hear your background and how you got to this position you're in right now, and chat some bodybuilding, man. How you doing, Malik?
Pretty good. It's actually Malik. I probably should have started off with that before the show. I let everybody get it wrong, and I'll correct it after at some point, but I'm not too good at doing it. I'll let somebody do it, and then I'll just at some point say my name in third person, but
no problem.
Yeah, man. As far as like bodybuilding, it was one of the first things I got into, like right out of the hospital. So I had been going to the gym for on and off 7 years, like prior to my incident. We were talking a little bit before this call. I've lost 100 pounds a couple times, but prior to me losing my legs. So I've always kind of had an interest in fitness, and I was a licensed electrician before I got out of the hospital, and was just kind of sitting in my apartment, not knowing what to do with myself. And I had a gym up the hallway. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go there. So I just kind of kept going with the gym. I had to do something so that like I kept my mind sane. And then lo and behold, I like started posting stories on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I'd have a few friends reach out to me being like, hey man, seeing what you're doing is really motivating me to like get back in the gym or do this thing that I haven't been doing for a while or whatever it may have been. So I reached out to somebody that I had known for a while, Kyle Driscoll with Team Limitless. He actually was college roommates with one of my old electrical apprentices as well.
Oh, cool.
So I've known Kyle for a little bit, and I just said, hey man, like a couple people have been reaching out to me about like me inspiring them just from posting stories. I think I kind of want to do something a little bigger and like do a show and do a little bit of social media presence with it. And when we started looking into it, the only super available information was the show in Idaho. Mm-hmm. So it was either be a year out, do a regional show as a one-man band, or try to get another competitor for one of those. But Kyle took a look and kind of decided that I had a good enough base for nationals. And he said, I think we can pull it off in like the short 16 weeks that we have here. So we gave it a shot.
That's awesome. So you just competed in Idaho recently, you said, right? And then you had Rhode Island here. What was that? Maybe 2-3 weeks ago? Is that right? Yeah, 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. It was back to back.
That's awesome. What was the process like for you? You know, for your first prep?
I'd say the first 8 or 9 weeks was like pretty easy for me. It was just following a diet plan and then doing the things I had been doing. It wasn't anything crazy like that. I guess the only thing that was new for me in that like beginning period was all the tracking of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like I was weighing myself every single day, like biofeedback, all that kind of crap. I'd never worked with somebody before that had gotten that into everything.
Right.
Later in the prep, when I was like really cutting a crunch time, trying to cut some fat off, and I was doing 12,000 pushes a day and spending 20 hours in my chair. That was when I really had to dig deep and start to find some new places in my brain.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's quite a challenge, you know, no matter what. It's 16 weeks flies by. When you get to the stage, it's funny. It's like, it seems like a blink of the eye, you know, that prep went. But when you're in the heat of the prep, it's like, man, this is fucking dragging. This is long. This is tedious. It's a grind. So I can totally relate to that. But I want to ask you before we kind of get into, I definitely want to talk a ton of bodybuilding. I'm super curious on, you know, because you looked fucking awesome, dude. I got to see you in Rhode Island. Jackie and I had a booth for Team Bluecollar down there and had some competitors competing. But you looked awesome. But before we get into those fun details, do you mind giving everyone a little background of how you ended up getting into the wheelchair? You know, what was the kind of details around the accident and exactly how long ago was that?
Yep. So April 8th of 2025. So it was like just a little bit over a year ago. I'm actually like pretty fresh to be doing what I'm doing.
Wow. Wow.
I was on a layoff from the electrical union and I was working for myself, like doing a little bit of side work. I had an apprentice meeting me for like an early job in central Massachusetts, and I was all the way down at the Cape at my family's vacation home.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to leave at like 3, 4 in the morning to start
Mm-hmm.
driving up this way to meet him early. I fell asleep at the wheel. Car spun out when I hit the rumble strip and woke up. Then it flipped into the median a couple times, and I flew out of the sunroof. And I got what was called a T12 Asia A complete spinal cord injury. So my back, basically, if these are two vertebrae, went
Mm-hmm.
like this.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Stretched my spinal cord and pinched it.
Wow. That's
So
crazy.
now I have a spinal fusion from my T11 to L4. And obviously when the accident happened, I had a whole bunch of lacerated liver, kidney,
Sure.
two punctured lungs. I split my sternum the whole way down the center.
Oh, wow. That's wild. That sounds like you're lucky to be alive, man. I mean, you're telling me you flew out of the moon roof. I mean, that sounds like a gnarly accident. How fast were you going? Were they able to kind of give you an idea? Because I'm sure you don't remember too much. I
Oh,
mean,
I remember
do
the
you?
whole accident, which is really
Wow.
crazy. I
Wow.
actually woke up in the median. I
Yeah.
have a voicemail from 911 asking me to call them back because I was the one who called.
Wow. That's crazy.
So when I got ejected out of the car and I was laying in the median, I woke up and I was smelling and tasting fresh cut grass, and I was just like, "What the? Oh yeah, car accident." And I looked to the left, looked to the right, couldn't see my car, so I tried to stand up, and that's when I realized my legs weren't working.
Wow.
Put my arms under me to try to like crawl and prop up, and I felt my back pop. And then
Mhm.
my stomach was just growing, and I went, "Oh, I'm gonna die here." And went back to sleep and woke up 4 days later in the hospital.
That's crazy. Wow, man. Yeah. It's hard to put words to that. I mean, it's 1 second you're just nodding off, falling asleep at the wheel, and then the next minute it's just everything flashes right in front of you. I mean, that's crazy. I'm amazed you were able to call 911 yourself, so you were able to understand what was going on enough to make the phone call and call for help.
Yeah, I had so like after I had felt my stomach growing, there was like a small period where like I kind of felt like a wad like under me, and I was like, "Oh, I think that's my phone." So I reached back, grabbed my phone, called 911, and it rang 3 or 4 times, and I remember it feeling like an eternity through those 3 or 4 rings, and I just went, "I'm gonna die here," and just hung the phone up and went to sleep. I was like, I don't want to listen to the phone ringing while I'm dying.
Yeah, that's insane, dude. Dude, you're so lucky to be alive, though. I mean, most people don't survive any of that shit. So you had lacerated liver, your sternum's completely split, your spine snapped, and then where is that on your back? Is that so? That's the thoracic area. Is that I don't remember. Is that the lower or middle back?
It's super low on your back.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's crazy,
So
man.
I have like a lot of my core, thankfully. I think my like lower back muscles don't work as great as they used to anymore. And then spinal cord injuries are kind of like a fingerprint.
Yeah,
So actually, while I was out in Idaho, somebody has the exact same injury as me, an Asia A T12 complete.
that's
But
crazy.
the way his happened is different than mine. My cord stretched and his like got sliced. So I might have totally different damaged nerves than he does.
Wow, that's great. So 4 days later, you wake up, and what's the first thing you remember when you're waking up from the hospital? You have family there, or just you still confused to what's going on, or did it all make sense to you?
Um, I think one of my first thoughts was, what am I going to do with myself now? Because being in the trades for 13 years as an electrician, I don't have my legs. I can't climb a ladder now.
Yeah,
Wait, what do I do?
right, right. Yeah,
And
that's
being a trade guy, you know how we all are. We're super into doing our work.
yeah. Yeah, that's why we call it blue collar bodybuilding. We come from blue collar jobs, our backgrounds as well. And yeah, you're on your feet all day. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I twisted an ankle one time and I thought it was the end of the world. I couldn't imagine being in a wheelchair trying to drive a loader or jumping in and out of the 10 wheelers. And that's crazy. Yeah, that would be probably one of my first thoughts is what is this all going to shake out? You know, what's going to come of me? And that's crazy. So the doctor comes and talks to you, and he lets you know that you must have known that you're paralyzed at the moment, because you can't move your legs. But did what was it like when the doctor come in and he explained to you kind of the whole litany of what life's going to be like? I know it's a dark question, but you know what I
No,
mean.
so this is actually a really good question because it really depends on which doctor you're talking to.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Um, the emergency room doctors were terrible. I was awake for like a very brief period before they brought me into surgery. It was like a 2-second flash. And I just remember this guy standing over me and being like, "Hey, man, you're never going to walk again." And I was.
Yeah.
And then I woke up in the intensive care unit after like a 4-day medically induced coma. And my surgeon came up. And I think this is what really held my brain together through a lot of it. He just went, "Hey, man, when I pulled your back apart and put it back together, I didn't notice any physical damage to the outside of your spinal cord.
Okay.
Swelling in the spinal cord can stay there for up to 18 months. So until that's gone, you're not really going to know how much recovery ability you might have.
Okay.
So don't listen to anything anybody can tell you." And then leaving there, I heard every opinion from every doctor. You might walk again. You might get this back again. You might never walk again. Who knows? So all I can do is just do PT and get back what I can and keep trying.
Yeah.
They leave it
So
like very open ended for you.
yeah, I'd imagine. I mean, what are they to tell you? There's only time will tell, right? Some of those injuries, it's a mess. It's how are they going to know until time passes by to see how well you can recover and what you can recover from. Some stuff you're not going to be able to. So how long after that was it? You in the hospital and then being able to pretty much get an understanding of what you can do for rehab. I mean, I'd imagine you were pretty much having to hang around in the hospital for quite a while before you could really get into recovery to a point.
Yeah, and that's actually almost even still changing to this day.
Yeah.
So I think I was at Rhode Island Hospital for 3 weeks in like the trauma units and all that kind of crap. And then I moved over to Spalding inpatient rehab right in Charlestown there.
Yeah, that's a great place.
Awesome place. Building was phenomenal. Where the location was really honestly helped keep my head up a little bit. Right on the point there in Boston Harbor.
Yeah.
So, and the staff there is phenomenal. I do have to give it to them on that. The staff there is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I spent, when did I leave there? I was there from May to July. I think July 1st was like my first day out of there. So I was in there for a good 3 months, and then I was doing PT in Framingham 3 times a week for pretty much up until the start of my prep. And then I got KFO braces, which are basically, if you've seen Forrest Gump, those metal braces that he has on the outside of his legs, I got those to start walking in parallel bars because I got a little bit of muscle return.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, my favorite movie.
It is a good movie.
I wanted to mention, though, Spalding's great. Without getting much into it, my father had his fusion on his spine twice in his life now. So he's got, I think it's either 9 or 11 vertebrae in his back are completely fused. So
Wow.
it's almost like 2/3 of his back before you get into the neck that's fused. But that's where you went, was Spalding, and we're local as well, kind of Central Mass. We're near like the Leominster Air Mass area, and so that's a great facility, and we've heard nothing but good about him. When my father went there, yeah, same thing. He was lucky enough to get in there, do his rehab from his surgery, and they were great people, very knowledgeable, and they're patient, and it's one of the best places in the world, from what I understand, really, when it comes to rehab and the capabilities and all the resources they really have. So you lucked out, because that's a good place. We forget how fortunate we are in New England here to have some really good healthcare options available to us. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's crazy talking to some of the other chair guys when I was out in Idaho too, from just about some stuff like that. Where was it? Some of the guys that live down in Texas that don't have, like all the mass health benefits that we have up here.
Yeah.
They've wound up getting a random invoice at the end of a month for $6,000 for catheters for the month. Yeah. Because their insurance didn't approve it, and and now I got to pay this. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate to be up in Massachusetts, at least with that part of it in that aspect.
Yeah, for sure. So so you jump right into prep after that. But before we get to that, when I'm curious, because you just brought it up with the guys in Idaho, when you were able to meet other bodybuilders that have gone through somewhat similar things, have similar disabilities and competing in the wheelchair division, what was it like talking to them? I mean, I'm sure that you had a litany of different kinds of stories and backgrounds from those guys. Was it a good experience to be able to talk to people that are kind of in the same position to a point? I'd imagine that's helpful.
Yeah. Meeting my fellow wheelchair bodybuilders out there, amateurs, the few of the pros, was awesome. And like I said earlier, we all have a little bit of a different scenario, but they're similar. So it's nice to be able to kind of relate on some of those issues.
Right.
And someone like me who has an able-bodied coach, when you're going through prep, you're talking about some of it with them, and it's like they know what's going on, but they don't fully understand it unless they're going through it. So when you can kind of say oh, dude, I had to do this the other day and we were dealing with this because of it. It's kind of nice to have that little bit of relation there. And there, even a few of those things came up where it was just dude, just do this next time. And I was like, I never thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got a lot of handy little tips from a lot of the guys out there, how to deal with some of the things that we had some issues with during our prep.
Yeah. So can you share a couple of those little, I mean, they might not relate to some of us that don't have that scenario, but what comes to mind of little tips that you didn't even think of?
So I think the biggest thing with wheelchair bodybuilding that's different from regular bodybuilding is we don't have the same kind of circulation below your level of injury.
Right.
So if I'm in a chair for 18 hours, my legs and feet might swell up a bunch.
Yeah.
If I'm hammering cardio, I might have to take a couple extra days off, which might elongate your prep.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things we were learning. We had kind of a short prep going into this because that's when I decided to do it. That was just the timeline that we had to make it happen. But going forward for the next one, we know we could probably start if most of these guys are doing 25-week preps.
Yeah.
They're a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's kind of the first thing I thought of when I thought of your situation. I'm trying to think of some of the difficulties. I'm trying to put myself in your scenario and say, what difficulties would a bodybuilder have being handicapped, right? And it's tough to, it's just like I said in my intro, unless you've been through it, how the fuck am I going to really know? But I'd imagine, you know, some of these things like recovery is huge with me, my athletes, right? Like if I can get you to train well, if I can get your training intensity to be like unhindered during a prep, and I can get your recovery to be pretty darn good, like as if we're not in a prep, those two things I hold up on a pedestal, because we just, it's a matter of time after that. It's a matter of, all right, we can sustain a level of progress. As long as those two things are going, we can make this prep as long or as short as we have to, or as aggressive as we have to. But as long as we're recovering and training is utmost held to a high pedestal, and it's important to us, then you're going to get the job done one way or another. But recovery is tough enough in general for all the different things, like the mental recovery, in the sense of like being run down mentally is a different problem than it is with cardio, or having to recover from you know, lifting weights all the time. Like, you know, we have many different kinds of things we have to recover from. People always think throw it all in the same basket, but you would have probably a million other different things. Like I wouldn't even have thought, like circulation issues and cardio. I'm sure difficult.
Digestion's another massive one. So like my large intestine and my colon don't speak to my other organs or my brain anymore. All those, like all your bladder and bowel functions at the very, very bottom of your spinal cord. So this isn't just me. This is pretty much anybody that's had a spinal cord injury has to deal with something along those lines.
Yeah.
So digestion's going to slow. Your colon's not going to automatically say, hey, there's stuff in here, pull water in here to get it out.
Right.
So when you're manipulating carbs or manipulating your water intake towards the end of your prep, like that's going to start making things a little difficult for you.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. That's crazy. Yeah, well, that's cool that you had people that you could talk to after and get to know them. I'm sure you made some friends as well that you're going to be able to, you know, always kind of pick their brains at. But you made a good point too, you know, having a able-bodied coach, and Kyle seems to be, you know, good at what he does, knowledgeable, and you know, been doing it for a little while. What in myself as a coach, I try to relate to my clients the best I can. But what difficulties do you think is worth mentioning that you had to kind of explain to him? Be like, hey, coach, I get what you're saying, but you have to understand my scenario is I can't do these sort of things, or I have difficulties with this or that. And he just, maybe it was something he didn't even think of that.
I can definitely remember one of them, and it was actually with digestion. So it was in like the first month we were working together. I think I had mostly high days. I think 5 high days a week and 2 low days a week at the time. I don't know if it was I had something going on, or it was like the rapid shift in diet from me not dieting at all to eating completely clean foods all the time.
Right.
I don't know what it may have been, but something was causing me to get blocked up like pretty bad. And it was causing me a ton of pain to the point where I had to like lay down in bed and like not move.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and that went on for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I got it kind of squared away. And lo and behold, it was my fiber intake needed to be way high. I need like 35 grams of fiber a day to be good. Most people need like 20.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
so,
that's hard enough.
Right. It was just like a little thing that we needed to kind of adjust and figure out for. But like once I started kind of cutting my food down a little bit, the carb intake got cut down a little bit, digestion slowed a little bit more, stopped me up, and we had to find a way around it.
Yeah. Well, good coaches, I've always said, are ones that are great problem solvers. Like that's really what we are at the end of the day. Each week we get a check-in, and it's kind of like a new problem, or it's a half-finished problem, and you have to get the next step done. So for you guys to be able to sit back and pause the train and say, let's figure out what's going on here. Kudos to you guys, because it's not easy. You know, it's tough enough in general with, you know, I get people in general, you switch their diets up right away, and yeah, you get some sort of digestion issues, or they're not used to it. And sometimes it's just hard. You're tracking a million different things, but it sounds like it came down to something simple like fiber. I'm glad you learned that, because now once you know those things, you can implement them easier. You can recognize the problem, and it's not always a guessing game next time.
Right. And just like you're saying, we had to do the same thing. I cut carbs completely out the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But right before the show, I had to look at Kyle and be like, dude, I have not gone to the bathroom for 3 days, bro.
Yeah.
Stomach's starting to hurt and it's starting to look a little bloated. Like, we got to figure out something here.
Well, you got
So
to think, you got high protein, you got no real carbs, you got no real food volume and fats, right? And you got nothing really pulling water to the colon to signal the process of helping, excrete all of the waste and keep things moving along. And so that's typical for most people. But if you're telling me that your lower half of your GI tract's not talking to the upper half, I'm sure that's one hell of a fucking issue to try to figure out. What tricks did you guys do though, like later on in the prep, to try to get, because I'm sure you had to get some carbs in, or did you step on stage pretty much carb free, or how did that work?
Rhode Island was pretty much carb free.
Yeah. Okay.
Rhode Island, I only peaked that day. So
Okay.
I think, no, you know what? Friday night, the night before, I think I might have had like 200 grams of rice with my last meal. And it wasn't like a full peak when I did it at Rhode Island either. I think I had like I don't know, maybe 500 grams of rice and a bunch of rice cakes and cut the protein out. And it was all white rice cakes with plain salt, water,
Mhm.
no artificials. So we made it as easy as we could on my body.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
That was one of the things Kyle really wanted to focus on, was that, like, when we were doing that, we were going to make it as fast digesting carbs as we possibly could, which that actually worked out because it cleaned me out before I got on stage. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that's
then
good.
we needed to do it for the next week as well.
Well, it's funny, once you start after a peak, putting some water in and some food in, everything just starts moving along pretty good. So I'm not surprised to hear you get a little bit of rice going, and everything starts kind of clicking for you. Now, were you a fan of bodybuilding before your accident? I know you said you lifted, but bodybuilding specifically, like, or was that after, when you were really looking for a goal or a sport to latch onto? Was that when
I
you
think,
found bodybuilding?
no, I think like right towards the end of high school, like during the Rich Piana era,
Yeah.
was when I was like really starting to kind of get interested in bodybuilding. Are you familiar with Sean Louiso, Undisputed Nutrition, at all?
It might by face. The name doesn't ring a bell.
Undisputed's not around anymore. It's Prime now in Shrewsbury on Route 9.
Okay. Yeah.
But I had grown up around Sean and seen like my friends going in the shop all the time, getting a little bit more in shape. I started going there, and that kind of piqued my interest in bodybuilding a little more. Was just kind of like being around the industry a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like going to a
Yeah.
smaller supplement shop rather than going to GNC, that kind of piqued my interest in the bodybuilding more.
Right. Right. Did you have a favorite athlete kind of growing up, a favorite bodybuilder that you really gravitated to?
I always kind of gravitated more towards the influencer guys rather than the bodybuilders.
Oh, really? Yeah. Like who comes to mind?
Honestly, some of the bigger guys now, Bradley Martin, I used to watch a bunch of, like, when
Gotcha.
he was early on. Rich was huge.
Yeah.
Callum Von Moger,
Yeah.
actually, he was another one. Jeremy Buendia was
Yeah.
definitely a bodybuilder that I looked up to. I never really looked up to like the mass monster guys.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I
funny.
mean?
That's what I've always appreciated. I remember my first time seeing those black and white photos of Dorian Yates when I was a kid, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I didn't even know what a bodybuilder was, and I saw those, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. It just clicked. I was like, that's what I want to do. If I can look 1% close to this, I'll be a happy man. And I still remember that moment, because like everybody, I always ask people that, like, what got you into bodybuilding? And for me, it was just seeing that wow factor of a first mass monster. Like, I'd seen guys with six packs and shredded competitors, but the first time you see somebody that's 250 peeled to the bone, it's like blows your mind a little bit. You're like, what am I looking at? Is this really human? you know. So I remember that. That's kind of what got me into it. And then I researched more, and years later ended up actually getting into bodybuilding as kind of what I do. And here I am now. But you and I actually shared something before we jumped on here. You mentioned that you lost 300 pounds. Well, 300, but you lost 100
Yeah.
pounds multiple times. And actually, I have too. I'll just quickly mention, but what happened with me is, so I don't know if you're aware, but I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'll be clean six years in October. So I'm like, what, 5.5 years clean right now. And so I would get into, and I'm 36. So when I was maybe 22 years old or something, I started going to the gym and cleaned myself up, stopped drinking for like a year, got myself in good shape, dropped 80 pounds, close to 100 pounds. And then I'm like, all right, I'm in shape where I can start bodybuilding and, really start getting the bulk of the work done. And then I started drinking, because I started saying, well, I've gotten this far. I can handle a beer. I can handle a cocktail. And next thing I know, that's not the case. I'm a drunk by the end of the week. And then a year and a half later passes and I have to clean myself all up again. I put all the weight back on. So I did that like 3 times until I finally said, you know what, enough's enough. I got to talk to my wife. I got to talk to my family and just say, hey, I don't need your help. I just need to be open and tell you guys I got to make a change here. And I'm going to go get a detox done. I told all my employees, I had 15 employees at the time, and had to tell them why their boss was going to be missing for a little while. And so, yeah, same scenario. That's how I came to lose 80 to 100 pounds each time, but like 3 occasions myself. So it's funny we share that.
That actually, it sounds very similar to my first kind of experience there. Mine was a little different, but I was always kind of a fat kid growing up.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
And like, I think I always kind of wanted attention or something along those lines. Like I wanted to kind of I didn't want to be like one of those weird fat kids,
Yeah.
So towards the end of high school, I started going to the gym and just getting myself in shape a little bit better. And I did. And I like kind of started, I was looking for attention from girls or whatever it may have been. And I was looking for tons of the wrong things out of life. So I did what I did, got down to the shape I was in, and then started being a nightclub promoter and running around with a bunch of drugs and drinking all the time, and then put the weight back on. And then at some point along the way there, I was like, this isn't it.
Yeah.
Got myself in a little bit of legal trouble. So that kind of made me
Smart
screw my head on a little bit more. Lost the weight again. Stayed in the gym for a little bit after that one. And then just like you said, I went, yeah, I can have a drink this one time.
I know, right?
My problem is like 2 or 3 drinks start to taste like a bag of cocaine to me. And then that's 4 days awake. So that spiral goes real quick. And then that went on for quite a while. And then I was able to on and off control it here and there, but slowly went back up to like 320 pounds again about October of 2024 was when I really started like hitting the gym again really, really hard. Like right after I got out of rehab. That was right when Uncaged was opening, actually.
Yeah, I remember that when they started opening up. Now, is that where you train now, Uncaged?
Yep. I bet
Okay.
it's 5 minutes around the corner for me.
Okay, no shit. So I'm in Empire Athletics in Leominster. So I'll have to hook up with you sometime. I haven't been to Uncaged, and that's like 25-ish minutes from 25-30 minutes from me, not far.
Yeah, no, you guys are super close. I've been meaning to come out to Empire too. That's kind of one of the things I've been wanting to do when I get back is start kind of touring around to a bunch of the other gyms around here and just checking them out.
Yeah, for sure. Empire's great. I enjoy it a lot. We've got there's like 4 gyms in one gym. So we got like a leg section it's kind of like a textile mill, like something you'd see in like Lowell or just around us. There's a lot of textile mills. So big tall ceilings. It's like a hangar, that you're lifting in. And but we got like powerlifting section, bodybuilding sections, boxing, turf, all that, leg days, leg equipment. It's pretty cool. for sure.
Yeah,
So
they're a
I've
pretty big gym too, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty good size. They got 3 of them too now. So they got one in Webster, and then they got one in I think it's Fitchburg or Lunenburg, right about a couple more miles away from the original gym. But yeah, it's hardcore bodybuilding gym for sure. You know.
I didn't know. I actually was not aware of how many of those big bodybuilding gyms we had in Massachusetts. I thought it was like Impact Fitness, and then when Uncaged opened, I thought it was like Impact Uncaged,
Yeah,
and like
yeah. There's a few. There's not a ton, but there's, it's not like you go to Dallas and it's every corner there's another bodybuilding gym, but there's plenty of them, which is kind of cool in this area to see a lot more popping up. Instead
well,
of
we've got what Prime, Olympus, Empire, Uncaged, Ultraflex.
yeah,
There-
Realty.
There's a, so there's a decent amount of them.
Yeah, there's good ones there. Yeah, Realty, which is now in Nashua.
Oh, he actually just sent me a shirt. I
Oh,
have.
Eric.
Yep.
Yeah.
I spoke. He gave me my award at Rhode Island, I think.
Oh, really? Yeah. He's kind of shorter. I think he's got glasses. Yeah, he's a great dude. Yeah, he's really into. You'll see him at a bunch of shows if you go to a lot of the local shows. He's always there and has a lot of athletes too. Yeah, he's a 212 pro himself. Great people. But where were we at there? Oh, you were kind of telling us about. So how did you end up getting clean with you were drinking, you started doing a little bit thinking you can control your addiction, which we all know is never really the case. So what snapped with you and got you finally to say, I got to clean up and make a big change here?
I knew I was doing a whole bunch of shit that was wrong. I had a couple kids, and when my first kid came, I straightened up for a little bit and then kind of like fell back into it pretty hard. And I was doing just about everything wrong that you could have imagined from that at that time. And like it just was sitting with me so wrong at the end of every night.
Yeah.
All those feelings that you sit there and ruminate in your head. And I had enough of it one day. I couldn't live with myself like it anymore. So I just went and told the family members that I needed to tell, and hey, this is what I did. Here's what's been going on. Like
Yeah.
all your suspicions have probably been right. I need to go and get some help, and here's what I'm going to do it.
That's awesome.
I'm a firm believer in that, like showing if you want to change, you're going to go and do it. It's not, you're not going to sit there and say, I need to do this. You're just going to go and do it. So action speaks louder than words. I went and did what I needed to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you're totally right. Like, I'm sure this makes total sense to you, but like a lot of people that should get clean, it never works until they're the ones that fully buy into it. Like, you can have your mom and dad, your loved ones, your wife, your kids, anything tell you like, hey, you got to clean up. I want you better and healthy. But it's until you actually, I don't want to always say hit rock bottom, because that's nowadays, unfortunately, rock bottom's like dead. Some people, there is no rock bottom, right? I'm sure just like myself, I'm sure you've had to bury a lot of friends from addiction in this area as well. And it's the suck part
yeah.
is yeah, that's definitely a key ingredient, for you to be able to say to yourself, like, I need to change. That was like the most important thing you could have done.
And I think there's kind of another aspect to that where you kind of need to be the one that drives change anywhere in your life. It's not just, addiction or anything like that. Somebody could look at you and say, hey, dude, your diet's horrible. Like your doctor.
Yeah.
Hey, your blood markers are coming back horrible. Until you actually care about it yourself, nothing's going to change.
Yeah. No one's coming to rescue you. That's so true.
And
yeah, you gotta do it yourself. Really, you got to get the motivation to make the changes yourself, or that's no one's coming there to save you. And I learned that myself quite a bit.
And unfortunately, some people, it's just takes a lot for them to get to that point.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm happy to hear that you straighten out, man, and hopefully you're able to keep up with it. And just want to mention, if you ever need anyone to vent or shoot the shit with or relate to, you can always reach out to myself, and Actually, I got like a half a dozen guys on my team that I coach that are recovering addicts themselves as well. Get the recording going back. There we go. Yeah, like I was saying, I got probably half a dozen guys that I train with in my gym that I coach that are recovering addicts themselves. So if you have come down and we all hook up for a lift sometimes, I'll be sure to introduce you there. But if you ever need anything, just reach out, man. It's good to have people that can relate, on your team for sure.
Absolutely, you as well. And that's kind of why I'm posting all the content that I'm posting. I want people to know that like there's a lot of resources out there.
Yeah.
And like it's not, whenever you're in one of those scenarios, it's not super easy like picking one that's going to work for you or finding something or whatever it may be. And I think one of the biggest things that helped me was like reaching out to some of my peers that I had known had gone through it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've really kind of tried to make myself a little bit of a beacon of that because I've clearly gone through a lot and I'm figuring out how to deal with it pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. A lot of people are too shy to talk about it. And it's like, you wouldn't be shy to talk about if you got cancer. You wouldn't be shy to talk about it if you got sick or something. It's like, why is it any different with addiction? At the end of the day, it's something you need help with, and it's not the end of the world. Like, you can get through this stuff, so good for you.
I was saying it to one of the other competitors, all the things that I've dealt with like my prior addiction problems, my family, like any family issues, all that stuff has been 30 times mentally harder on me than not having legs anymore.
Yeah. 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 It's not easy dealing with all that for sure. It sounds like you did it the right way too, that you talked to your family. That's something I didn't do the first couple times I tried getting clean. I thought I was big enough and tough enough where I could just throw it all on my shoulders and, give me a few months, I'll be right back to normal. And that's just not the case, just
see,
at least accountability factors too,
That's exactly what I did too. And I think that's also like kind of another reason I'm posting a lot of the things that I'm doing is because it's like, it's something I know I've wanted to take care of, you know?
Yeah. Good for you, man. Well, let's get into some of the bodybuilding. I appreciate you sharing that and where you come from. And let's take a look at your Instagram. And actually, everybody takes a look up here on the QR code. I've got Malik's Instagram. If you want to scan that, that'll bring you to his page if you want to follow him. But let's take a look at your IG. So there's some pretty dope pictures here from you from Rhode Island. Let's take a look at this one here.
I think I actually looked a lot better in Rhode Island than I did in Idaho.
Yeah, your conditioning is really good, man.
My condition was better in Rhode Island.
Yeah, that's Eric.
Yep. I think the stress getting me out to Idaho too also played a very large factor in my look there.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
I think at Rhode Island, me knowing I was coming out on stage alone without anybody was kind of like another confidence boost factor there.
Right.
That was me and Austin. There's a funny one about this actually. So we were in the bathroom. Do you know Chooch?
Yeah. Is he a coach?
Yes, he is a coach.
Yeah, he just followed me the other day. Yeah, I know I've bumped into him at some point, but yeah, what about him?
Kyle was taking those pictures of me and Austin, and Chooch was down there obviously for the tanning. Came in the bathroom, saw me, started shooting the shit with me, and then turns around and Kyle was right behind him. And Chooch was Kyle's coach when Kyle was a bodybuilder.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep. So we had a nice little moment there.
That's awesome. Well, dude, you look fucking solid. I'm trying to find, there was one that was like a before and after kind of.
I think that's pinned right at the top of my page, maybe.
Is that it?
No.
There was one where you were side by side, and one you're not. Oh, right here, right in front of me.
Yeah. Oh, Kyle posted that one.
So this is 15 weeks prep transformation. Yeah, you look great, dude. Your chest is super striated. You got a great shape too. You can see the taper of your lats pulling from the back here as well. Um, what were you for weight before and after? Do you remember?
So the last time I had been weighed in a hospital, it was like 230, and I didn't have a scale for the first, I don't know, 5 weeks of my prep, which is probably where I did a lot of fat loss. So when
Right.
I first got the scale, I weighed in at 206, and that was at February 15th. And
Okay.
then I ended prep last week when I lost the scale at 168.
Wow. Fuck, that's a really good drop.
Getting below 170 was really tough.
I'd imagine. Yeah. Yeah. You get to a point when you get close to the finish line, those last few pounds are like a grind.
Yep. It was
Yeah.
weird though for me because I'd probably be sitting around like 173, 174, and then I'd get like a decent amount of rest, and then it'd all drop off, and then it'd spike right back up like a couple pounds again a day later. My rest was like pretty bad. I was bad about sleep.
I'm sure that's something that you're going to put in your notes for next prep, dude. Is it's so important, the sleep aspects. Like, how are you going to give 100% if you're not coming back with 100% energy the next day? It's kind of like having an allowance of money. Like, how do you expect if I give you $100 every day, but I don't, end up giving you $80 and $60, your spending ability is going to get lower. You're not going to get so far. So it's the same thing with your recovery aspects. You need to really charge your batteries, not every day, but at least from week to week. You got to find ways to get around things.
I would almost even say you have to kind of make what works for you work too, because like there were days where I'd get 3 or 4 hours of sleep at night, and then I'd go into work and be in a delivery van sleeping in the passenger seat for 3 or 4 hours. And that's how I was getting 8 hours in a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
But you don't also garner the same results with that. So it's almost like when you're using that money analogy, the money ain't getting you as far anymore.
Yeah, it's super true. Super true. So everyone wants to know. I'm curious as well. I'd love to just hear you spill the beans on everything from training. Like, let's start with training. What does training look like for you?
Oh,
From when you got into prep, did you pretty much have a game plan? Like, are you a push pull, push pull scenario? Or are you doing like each individual body part? You doing arms, back, and then kind of splitting things apart. What's training look like for you?
so prior to prep, I was doing just like chest tries, back buys, shoulders, and then an arm day. So I was hitting arms twice a week.
Yep.
Then when we moved into prep, I think Kyle really wanted to accentuate me having like a narrower waist and broad shoulders.
Mhm.
So I was hitting shoulders pretty much with like a small amount of front and rear delts with every single workout. And
Mhm.
then we had chest tries, back buys, back and arms, and then a full upper day.
Wow. So you're getting a lot of volume on the upper constantly.
Yeah,
That's good.
high volume. And then I had a push goal. So I do wear an Apple Watch, and it counts as like me pushing a wheelchair, just like it would count you walking.
No shit.
Uh, had to get 5,000 pushes a day, which going out and speaking we were just winging it. We had no idea.
Yeah.
We're going off of what some of the other guys are saying on Instagram and what we might have heard. Some of the guys wear watches, some of them do hand bikes, some of them do battle ropes, some of them do this. So there's not like a lot of consistent information on the cardio aspect of it. So we just kind of said, all right, we're going to start here and then go up more if we need to.
Mhm.
And it was working, so we didn't adjust it. But lo and behold, come to find out, so like Mr. Olympia James, we're talking to him at one point, and he just goes, "Yeah, 5,000 pushes is like a lot. Like that's what I try to get in a day with my cardio."
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm not usually going over that. And there were days I hit 12,000,
Wow. That's
like
insane.
towards the end of prep to just kind of cut it off.
Yeah. So were you doing any kind of specified like cardio though, or are you just going off of
So if
like
I had
the
a rest day, I'd do like 20 to 40 minutes of battle ropes, depending on what my weight was
okay.
looking like that week, or like
Yeah.
energy levels, or I kind of did get to gauge a little bit of that.
Yeah. That's cool. What other options do you really have for cardio though? I mean, obviously you're limited with your scenario, but I mean you can do ropes, you can do the SkiErg. What is it called? The SkiErg machine, where it's kind of like a skiing, almost looks like you're skiing.
Apparently, those are actually really hard
Yeah.
for
Oh, they
guys in
are for
chairs
sure.
because I've been looking into them. Another thing I said to one of the other chair guys, he goes, "Dude, you're gonna hate that thing."
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? He goes, "It's way better if you just got like a Planet Fitness membership and go use a hand bike or something."
Yeah. Yeah. They're difficult in general. I've heard that that's like the that's like the lazy man's version of a stairmaster, which it looks easy, but it's not. I've tried those a few times, and fuck, they'll get you out of breath really quick for sure.
Oh yeah, they will. Just like an assault runner. Oh, it's all those CrossFit cardio machines.
Yeah,
Those guys are nuts.
that's awesome. Um, yeah, I was curious. I had one of my friends, Amy, asked me to. She goes, the bikini girl in me is curious about how you go about with your cardio, and I didn't even think of that part. But I was like, well, step counts, you're not going to do that, but the push count, that makes total sense. So 5,000 pushes, that's hard to just even imagine. So that's one full push rotation, and that's counting as a push, correct?
Whatever me going
That's
pushing the
crazy.
wheelchair is.
That's crazy. So you were really crushing it with your daily activity.
Oh yeah. I think I gotta switch over to swimming though, coming
Yeah,
soon. Cause the guy that won Idaho this year got his pro card, Tyler. He was telling me he swims a lot, swims laps in a pool for cardio. And the
yeah,
good thing about that for us spinal cord injury patients is you get pressure relief.
yeah, yeah.
So you get all the like benefits of having the weight off your spine and all that kind of crap.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. You get out of the chair, you're able to float around and not have all, sitting in the same spot all the time. Um, that's cool. What about diet? What's a guy like you eating a day for prep, and what's it look like? I know you said you did a lot of carb free towards the end, but what's a normal diet look like for you?
As clean as you can possibly imagine. For some reason, beef started not agreeing with me too well. So I had to swap that protein for turkey.
Okay.
But I was doing a lot of ground turkey, a lot of chicken breast, strawberries,
Hmm.
egg whites. Yeah, that is pretty much my diet right there. Some almond butter,
Hmm.
rice
Now,
cakes.
now, do you guys do like a carb cycle? I know you said you have like high days and low days.
So at the beginning, we were, I think, at a steady diet for like 4 weeks. And then I wasn't, it started like the fat loss started to slow down. So that's when
Hmm.
I went to, what did I have? I think I had 3 high days a week and 4 low days a week.
Hmm.
And pretty much the only thing we did on those days was swap the white rice for rice cakes.
Okay,
And I
gotcha.
think we took out whole eggs, swapped them for egg whites.
Okay, yep. So
The
you're just
lower,
basically cycling calories a little bit to a point. Yeah,
pretty much, yeah. And then towards the end of prep was when it was really like, all right, no more proteins, the normal shit before a show.
yeah. Now, does Kyle put together actually your food selections, or is he giving you like macros, or so he's picking
Oh
all that
yeah.
for you? Gotcha.
Kyle is very, very on top of the tracking of everything. So I have a spreadsheet that has my full blown macros for my meal plans every day. I have a sheet that I fill out biofeedback on
Mhm.
daily. So I take daily weights, if I have any digestive issues, how many pushes I got the night before. That we record absolutely everything so that if we can go back and look at something that we need to, we can.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's basically how Jackie and I operate. We put everything on a Google Drive, spreadsheets for your diet, macros to your an actual meal plan to same thing, daily trackers. I even like knowing, did we go to the bathroom today? If so, how many times did we run to the bathroom? Sleep quality, soreness quality, soreness tracker 1 through 5, and hunger, you name it. So I try to make it so I can only give you like maybe 5 minutes of homework at the end of the night, so not make a big deal out of it. But that shit makes a big difference, because you're going to be able to take that and look back. So next prep, you're going to look back and go, all right, I'm coming across an issue at week 7 or week 6. How did I get through this? Did this happen last week? You have all these notes to refer back to. And if you were to ask your clients to journal and make a diary of their training, in their sleep, in their all this feedback, they're not going to do it very nicely or easily. So you kind of have to trick them into a way of putting this all together. So I think that's a huge benefit you have, especially where a lot of this is new to you, right? Like this is your first go around of this. So you're going to have to build a lot of this. Some of it's going to be important information. Some of it's not going to make any difference from prep to prep. Some things are going to change, just like anyone else.
I think it helps keep you on track too.
Yeah. You probably get a little addicted to seeing you're filling in things correctly. You're building progress. You're seeing everything kind of formulate, and like you're seeing your progress on numbers and papers as well as the mirror. So yeah, I think that helps for sure. Keeps people on track.
I think the mirror will definitely drive it, but I think what it was for me is it became a part of my daily routine. Like if I wasn't waking up and taking my vitamins at 8 o'clock, there was like some brain worm going on up there that was like, dude, you didn't do this today. Get up, go do that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you want it to be perfect and consistent.
And I used to be coming from the addiction realm. That was a perfect realm to just be like, oh yeah, I'll deal with that tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, it becomes for me, it's funny, addiction and bodybuilding had like a real cool transition, where like in bodybuilding you try to do everything perfect on a daily aspect, just like you're trying to stay sober day by day, but you're building this long-term track record. Just like in bodybuilding, you have daily things that add up to a long-term goal. Same thing with sobriety. You're working on today to just stay sober, so that way I can live a life of sobriety. And that switch for me worked very well, like where I was taking my sobriety and bodybuilding and allowing them to help each other, so it made a lot of sense for me. It's cool that kind of relates to you as well. Now, what about like, of course, everyone's going to want to know about supplementation, PEDs. Do you guys, did you have anything exciting that you ran? Are you a natural athlete, or?
I am not a natural athlete. So I was not natural before my accident.
Okay.
I was only taking like 125 tests before my accident. Honestly, I came out of rehab and was just like, oh, well, I'm going to the gym. This is probably a lot better than doing what I was doing.
Sure.
So not great, but I'll be honest about it.
Yeah.
And then when I got in the accident, I was sitting in the hospital and I looked at the spinal cord injury doctor on the rehab floor. And I went, hey, man, so like I'm getting out of here in 2 weeks. I'm going to be honest. I want to go back to the gym. I'm probably going to start taking tests again. How do you feel about it? And he just goes, well, there's actually a study going on about spinal cord injuries, like young males with spinal cord injuries and testosterone replacement for recovery benefits. So they like it can help you retain your muscle mass in your legs. If you have a spinal cord injury, you're going to have naturally lower testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
So doctor said it was a great idea. Just kind of let me run with it.
Yeah.
I ran with it a little bit, but to get to the condition that we were in, I think, what was it? I ran Clen for like 8 weeks, small dose, 40 micrograms a week, 25 Winstrol, 1 gram Aretta a week, 1 milligram Aretta a week, 1 gram Aretta a week would be a lot.
Yeah, you want to be eating anything.
Clo I've been taking for my skin and digestion. That's been a massive one for my digestion, actually.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. I take the oral BPC and KPV. orally, and I'll take the shots of BPC and TB for like inflammation. Maybe I get a knee that's starting to swell up. I might do it for a week or two. But I was curious. I was going to ask you about the peptide stuff. So you find that works well for you, is the Clo specifically for digestion?
Oh yeah, that one's one that does not come out of my
Yeah.
stack at all. I try to drop it for like 15 days every 30, but I had super bad acne issues from the like Clen and Winstrol.
Mm,
They
okay.
got real bad. So actually that might have been from the mask too. I don't know. But something was making me freak out.
Yeah, everything, you see a lot of when people are having fluctuations. So like when you're very steady with your HRT or a cycle and things stay consistent, people's skin seems to stay pretty consistent and good, I would say, for the most part. It's usually when you push and pull things in and out of the plan that people get these fluctuations, and then something triggers the whether it's acne or any other side effect, right, that would come along with the gear. My wife's an esthetician and a professional bodybuilder herself, and she helps a lot of guys with these scenarios with skincare. It's part of what we do at Bluecollar Bodybuilding. Is luckily where she's an esthetician, she's got a good background and she understands the pharmacology of PEDs well too. But that's what we've come to find out, is some things just don't work well for people in general. But 9 out of 10 times the introduction of something, that period where serum levels are coming up, let's say it's the Mastron, that might just trigger something in you specifically, or in general, those fluctuations of what gets the acne. I see it a lot with acne or skin issues, or just any other side effect. It could be estrogen or whatever. But yeah,
my estrogen was wicked high when I started working with Kyle too. So like Kyle had me get my blood work done like the first week I was working with him. I was taking tests for like a year with no AI.
Mm-hmm.
I think it came back at like fucking 90 something.
Oh wow.
So it was super, super high when I started working with him.
Yeah. And were you getting side effects at around 90 that you noticed? Yeah, I'd imagine so. See, it's funny. Everyone's different, right? Like some people could be at 65, 75, and they have no issues. There's nothing I'm seeing that I'm worried about. Where the next dude, it's the end of the world. So everyone's so different.
Yeah, I guess the high estrogen's not as bad as the low estrogen, though, right?
Well, it depends. I mean, they both suck. But I prefer. I definitely hate having my estrogen like crushed or completely low. Your joints feel like shit. You feel fragile and dry and achy, and emotionally everything's blah and just sucks. It feels like you got the flu. It's a fucking miserable, to be honest. So I'm glad to hear that he ran your blood work, and it's good to get a baseline before you really start kicking anything off.
Yeah, he really wanted to be careful, especially with me. Like we knew we probably could have pushed a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it was just, what's the point? There's no need to cause any more disruption than there is.
Yeah.
There's already small little minor issues. Let's not make them any worse.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're fresh coming off of your injury in general. Like you said, around a year's time. So, maybe down the road when you're a little more comfortable with it. But I'm a huge believer in finding a sweet spot, like the Goldilocks zone, I call it, with everybody. And it's different from person to person. When it comes to performance and physique enhancements with PEDs, more is not always better, for sure. And unfortunately, a lot of young kids think more is better. It's really like finding what works for, what works for Malik might not work for me, but it might work for the next person, who knows, but everyone's going to be different, and it's good to find your sweet spot. Now, what about other things? Like, did you utilize any peptides other than that, or any kind of, growth hormone that seemed to benefit you?
No growth. MOTS-C helped me a lot, like in the energy category.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed, like when I was taking, I think 5 milligrams of MOTS-C a week, and it was a milligram on 5 days. And the days that I didn't have it, I noticed that like I'd be a lot more like lethargic towards the end of the day, and So that was like a big one, especially when I was in the like a super low calorie deficit, because I think my low days were like 1,300 calories at one point, and then they got down to 800 towards the end of prep.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys really pushed it on the diet. Yeah, that's cool. Well, it looks it, dude. You got fucking peeled to the bone, and you looked good and full, and you look definitely hard and dense, which is awesome. I thought you had a great package. Now, how did Idaho go for you? For the because that's a pro card qualifying show. How'd you place up there, and how'd you do? How was the experience?
I took third. The experience was pretty good. Um, there needs to be like more wheelchair bodybuilders out there.
Mm-hmm.
For what this has done for me, is incredible. And I think there's just like for people in an injury, if you're looking at it, I kind of had that like backdoor into that Rhode Island show from Kyle, Noah, and Justin.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like a nice little introduction to bodybuilding there, and I had been around the gyms before, so I had a relationship with my coach. I knew how people went about, working with supplement companies. I had dealt with in obviously being blue collar, I dealt with running businesses, so I know how to write emails to people and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
If without doing that outreach, let's say you're just a random kid that was snowboarding or skateboarding, doing something, car accident, whatever it may have been, you got in that at 18, 19 years old, and now you're trying to figure out your life and you're looking at everything. You're trying to move out of your parents' house or move into a house, get married, whatever it may be. You're trying to deal with all those things. And then you're looking at, I've got a show I could go out and do way out here to prove something to myself and other people and whatever it may be for you. It's kind of daunting to someone that might be dealing with a lot already.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, one of my biggest takeaways is that if we can get that kind of representation out there to say, like, hey, like, I understand you guys are dealing with a lot, like, on your end, but I was able to do it. Like, we found a way. So, like, that's why I made a video post the other day. If anybody out there in a chair even has a fitness goal, reach out to me.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of daunting if you've never done it before and you're now in a chair, you're already dealing with 100 new different things.
Yeah. Now, with your experience, though, I know you're fresh into the bodybuilding in general of competing, but you make a good point that there's maybe not a lot of information on wheelchair bodybuilding in general. What do you think's lacking? So if there's a promoter or there's someone high up in the NPC that's listening to this, what suggestions as the athlete would you give to them, or fair criticism, good, bad, in between, to make it more available to people? Or maybe it's more information, maybe there's more discussion, or you need to see more athletes step up and
It's
say,
the
hey,
more it's the athletes got to step up, because the guys that are running the league right now are doing absolutely everything they can for it. I mean, there's 7 pro shows a year. Those guys got to be out there so that we have something to aspire for. If you actually want to make this a serious sport, you got to want to be somewhere. So, and it's not just in the United States. So there's pro events throughout the world.
Mhm.
So if those are going to be wheelchair bodybuilding sanctioned events, they got to spend their time, making sure those events happen, making sure they're set up, making sure that everything's there that needs to be there.
Mhm.
So that's where that time gets allocated from those. And you got your pros, those guys are helpful. Like the wheelchair pros to us, the amateurs, are super, super helpful. I've never messaged one of those guys and not had them reply to me with a response within a day.
Wow. That's
Like
awesome.
even right before the show, James and G, they're 2 pros. Mr. Olympia is James, and G is took 3rd at the Olympia last year.
Mhm.
They both live together in Texas. They train at Destination, but they called me like a week before the show, and we're just like, "Hey man, we saw that posing video you did. We actually have a little tip for you. Move your wheelchair back up a little bit." And try it this way. I sent them a video later. They were like, dude, look at that yourself. It looks way better.
That's awesome.
So those guys are there to support us, but also the pros, they still have to do what they have to do for preps. They're flying around all the time. They got to deal with their own medical shit because they're still in wheelchairs too.
Right.
So their time's pretty tied up. So if you ask me, it's kind of on us, like amateur athletes, to kind of grow the sport.
Yeah.
You know, we got to be the ones getting out there and doing the outreach, because there's plenty of people. I think about it myself, you know, when I was sitting in a hospital bed looking at everything, I'm like, what do I do with myself? How do I go about doing this now? How do I go about doing that? I had a lot of questions, and like I said, I was kind of just in the right place in the right time, knew the right people to make it happen the right way. But when I got out to Idaho, some of these amateur competitors are just making it happen at all costs. So like there's this girl, Justine. Justine is a badass. This girl drove 36 hours by herself from Canada with a level injury here.
Wow.
So she can't really control much of her core at all. She slept 2 hours in her car, competed, got back in that same car and drove back to Canada 36 hours one night after the show.
Wow. That's insane.
Another kid out from California, James, he's been coaching himself and going out there for 3 years. Like self-coached, all ran by himself.
That's crazy. Yeah, it sounds like that's what I like about what you're doing. You know, you're sharing your journey, and you're kind of showing people your what's fun about it, but also what's difficult about it too. You know, and being open and transparent. So it's cool that you're leading by example. And I guess I get what you mean now when you say that the athletes, if they want more of bodybuilding and wheelchair bodybuilding to be more accessible and available, they just need to be able to speak up and kind of get themselves in the positions to compete and just carry others along with them too. You know, kind of show them like, hey, like yourself, like if I can do it, you can do it. If this is something you truly want to pursue, no one's going to come save you and make it happen for you. You gotta, you know, make the right phone calls. You gotta try to see what's available to you and put it all together.
And
Yeah,
I would
pretty
almost
cool.
even say that kind of goes into that same thing we were talking about earlier before the call. It's almost like you need help, but you need to want the help yourself.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there is like a mental aspect to it too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need it to like you need to want it to be different.
Yeah.
You need to say to yourself, like, hey, I'm sitting here every day, miserable, not knowing what to do with myself. I need a change, and I desperately need that change.
Yeah.
And that's what it took for me to kind of be like, all right, I'm going to actually do this thing with bodybuilding. And, you know, I had a few other kind of pushes in my life that got me to go and do it and just say, fuck it, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I think if, you know, we had kind of like for example, if I were to go out to like a rehab hospital once a month and see the kids that are in the beds and just say, hey, man, I know where you're at. Here's what I've done in a year. Here's my contact info. If you get in your head and you feel like contacting me, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll help
Absolutely.
you out. It almost needs to be like you need to approach me about it, but no, I'm here type deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Show the initiative, you know, if that's truly what you want to do. That's really cool, man. I think that's, I think if you keep doing what you're doing, you're only going to be successful in it, and you're going to help a lot of people for sure. And hopefully those that watch this, you know, motivates them a little bit to, you know, if someone's going through something similar themselves, that they say, yeah, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. I got to get up and figure out how I'm going to make this happen myself as well.
So
Really
I'm only
cool.
looking at it from, you know, my perspective of Massachusetts, because we have Spalding here. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? We have one of the largest spinal cord injury research facilities in the United States.
Yeah.
We have the Dana Christopher Reeves Foundation, High Fives Foundation. We have all these grant organizations up here in the Northeast. So tons of people with spinal cord injuries live up here, and they all go and do adaptive things.
Yeah.
But it might be a one-off event. with the High Fives Foundation. Like they go and do adaptive sailing for a day
Right.
or something along those lines. So I'd really kind of like to try to put myself in that position to grow that and maybe have a few other competitors at like a Rhode Island show next year.
Mhm.
And I think that could definitely help propel the sport a little more, bring some like attention to it, get some more money pumping around it, and getting these athletes what they need.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to see it. You know, you guys got crazy physiques too. Just coming from the sport, I just want to see more people compete and show their capabilities, and it's definitely motivating. You know, to see everybody push themselves, no matter what their background or circumstance is. It's yeah, I think it's badass for someone like you to just get into this sport specifically too. Like it's a wild fucking sport as it is. It's hard enough as it is, and like I said earlier, I couldn't imagine having to do it with the difficulties that you have to go through every day. And it's I give you a lot of credit, man. And for you to want to help others and show share your accomplishments with others is just badass of you. So if we can help in any way, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm down for it. I'll be at all the shows in New England most of the time. Anytime you see a booth, you guys are always welcome to come hang out at our place and chit chat, and anything we can do to help, I'm down for it.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. So last thing I wanted to ask is, before we hop off, I don't want to take all your time, but what is it, if you were able to kind of sit back and think to yourself, what's your goals? Like you've gotten this far, you're a little bit over a year after your surgery, excuse me, after your injury, and you've already competed in bodybuilding shows. You've been successful, competed in your first national show. What's in store for you? What are your dreams that you want to chase after now? What's your long-term goal? And how are you going to get after them?
I want to still keep competing, but I really think I want to try to do something to get more athletes into this. After being in Idaho at that and kind of taking the perspective that like I went through like a full-blown bodybuilding experience, and that's not at all what some of these amateur competitors are getting. I mean like the repeat ones too. It's not someone that's coming out and doing one show. Some of these guys have been going out there for 3-4 years, and I'm the first year on bodybuilding. I'm getting the full blown, have a coach, going to the shows,
Yep.
working out at a bodybuilding gym all the time, filming all the content. I'm doing all of it. So I'm very fortunate to have had all that and had the availability to it. And these guys can want to put in the work all they want, but I think there's a little bit of mental block with
Mhm.
the social media aspect, a lot of it. That's a tough one for a lot of people to get over. So if I can kind of bridge that gap, help some of the competitors that are doing it now grow their social medias a little bit, get their presences a little better, and get a few more regional shows going, I think I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know the Northeast, NPC Northeast expediters, and all the people that work at the NPC Northeast, they'd be thrilled to listen to you and get some of your ideas. And if you ever need help in contact with some of them, let me know. Jackie and I have been fortunate enough to coach and compete ourselves in the Northeast, and have met a lot of good friends and sponsor some of these shows. And so anything we can do to help, I think that's a great goal, dude. And I think it's awesome that you've identified a problem that I didn't even think about, is that there's some mental roadblocks to being a handicapped athlete, and kind of feeling like, maybe I'm saying this wrong, but feeling like you truly have a place in the sport, right? Because it's a little bit like, it's a little bit different. They might not, they see a million, you look at bodybuilding, you see a million able-bodied people. You don't really see as many wheelchair people as you do. As you see when you turn on the Olympia, you see it, but not every pro show, not every regional show, and certainly not in the national shows. Like you said, there's only one in Idaho. So if you're able to get at least people talking about it and more athletes trying to vouch for themselves to make it more accessible, you're going to be successful, because there's going to be people that want to see this too. Um, it makes money for to be honest, it makes money for the regional shows to have more competitors, and they want to make it accessible to everybody. They don't want to limit who can come and become to participate in their event. So if you're able to bridge a gap with some of the athletes that are thinking about it or really want to pursue it but are too shy to kind of open up, and you can show them how they can go about it, you're going to be very successful. I can already tell if you do that.
That's really what I think it is. So actually, right after I left Idaho, I made a Instagram group with every competitor that had been on stage. There
Nice.
were 7 of us there. So there were 6 of us in this group because I didn't add Tyler. He got his pro card now. He's focused.
Yeah.
I don't want to distract him with what I'm doing over here. He's gonna go win shows.
Yeah.
He's got a wedding to get to. So let's not bog him down. I got back, I made that group chat, and within 10 minutes there were 30 members in it.
That's awesome.
And I'm just thinking about it, and I'm like, where'd all these people come from?
Yeah.
I don't know. You look ripped. I can see it in your profile picture. Why don't you have any posts?
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to encourage it because I'd want to see more of it. It's true. I scroll through the social medias and I just don't see as much of it. And it's fascinating to me. It truly is to see you guys work through such adversity.
The part that I don't understand is I don't know why you wouldn't want to press that issue as much as you could too. It's not just looking at it as like something for me to grow and myself. I'm also looking at it as like an opportunity for myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here living on disability my whole life. I'm all set with doing that. So I'd like it to make it to a point where I can do this for a living. I think we all would, and if I can help bridge that gap somehow for people, I'd love to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'd encourage you. I'm big on challenging people too. And my thing that pops into my mind for you is I love everything you're saying, dude. But I would challenge you to make sure that you stay in the aspect of walking the walk too. I know you will, but what I mean is like, if there's a show you want to compete in, make it happen and show people that it can be done. So if that's just like you did with Rhode Island, you reached out, you made it happen, and they were more than happy to have you. It was.
I actually didn't even do any of that. Kyle told me.
Right.
That's the way I went about my whole prep. I just went, you tell me what to do, Mr. Coach. You know better than I do.
Right. But having those resources and talks with your coach, it made it all happen. And if you're shy, closed mouths don't get fed, as they say. So, you got to just make it happen. So I challenge you to just continue to do shit like that, which is if you see a show that you want to compete in, show others that it can be happen and that you're welcome to be there. It's just sometimes they don't think about it. They, like you say, these promoters, they get a million angles that they're being pulled in different directions. If you want to see it happen and become accessible to other handicap athletes, somebody's got to lead the way, and show how it's done. So it's really cool, man. So why don't you tell everybody how they can reach out to you if they do have other questions? Why don't you pump your socials and anything you're into?
Honestly, Instagram DMs is the best. 508_Malik. That's the best way. Like you said, that QR code up in the corner there.
Yep.
That's where I'm the most active. I can't get behind the whole TikTok thing yet.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. It's just the whole function of the app. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah,
so I just won't use it.
I'm too old for it now. I feel I'm getting too old for that shit. The TikTok. I let my wife deal with all the Instagram stuff. I do the YouTube but that's awesome. So yeah, I'll put in the description below your contact info and your Instagram in case they miss out on the QR code. And then if one last thing before we hop off and sign off here, if you could give a little words of advice to someone that might have been, if you were talking to yourself from where you're sitting now to where you were a year ago, and you were really down in the dumps, and I can imagine that you were feeling really kind of hopeless in some moments of your life, finding out that you're going to have a life of, this disability, you're going to have a lot of struggles. For the next person that's just like you, that's sitting in that position right now, what would you say to them for words of encouragement, or maybe just like a little bit of advice? If you can say anything to them, what do you say?
As crazy as this is going to sound, your life's not over. It's actually just starting, and it's probably about to get a lot better. If you can find the courage to get out there and start doing some things, people are out there and they want to help you do the things you want to do. They know your life's harder now because you're in a chair, and people want to help. So don't be afraid to open your mouth and talk about it. I mean, we got to look at some of the things that I did here. I saw heavyweight chocolate bars, right? I wanted one of them for after my show, and they're super hard to get. They sell out all the time. So I made an Instagram video, called them out, and had people tag them. They sent me 3 of them.
That's awesome.
Because they loved what I was doing, loved the message. And you know what? Now I'll be spamming them all the time too. So it's like it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Life will pay you back if you pay it something.
Yeah. No, I think the mentality of thinking that way too is important. Like, it's going to seem like a grind, I'd imagine, when you really are just freshly injured and things feel like the end of the world. It's like you say, like, there's a whole new life out there for you, and you just don't realize it yet, and it's hard to grasp. You know, it's kind of like myself in a point. I know they're not the same, but I guess I can relate a little bit. When I was truly a full-blown addict, I never thought that my life was going to get any different. And when I finally straightened out, my life is so much better now. I mean, I have a beautiful wife, I have a beautiful home, I have a lot of things to be thankful for. Got a couple beautiful Mustangs that, you know, like, I've worked hard for things in life, and now I get to appreciate them. And I never thought I was deserving of it. Like, I was kind of never thought that I really deserved that. And I've come to find out, man, was I fucking wrong? You know, it just took a little bit more work, a little more blue collar mentality. And I love all the things that you're standing for, man. That's why when I talked to you for 2 seconds, I could see that you had your mind in the right place. You did nothing but smile and was positive to me when we first talked and met. And that's when I wanted to have you on and say, what's the secret sauce with this guy? Because don't take this the wrong way, but a lot of people look at the scenario and they feel bad. They feel like, you know, the poor guy. And it's like, I'm sitting there going, this fucking guy's happier than me, and I'm thrilled right now. Like,
you know, it's really funny. I was getting off the plane yesterday, and this guy looked at me, and he, in a really, real somber tone, he just goes, man, life must be crazy different now. And I looked him dead in the eyes, and I went, no, I'm the same exact person I was. My legs just don't work. And he went dead silent. Didn't say another word to me, and got off the plane.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's a good mentality, man. I'm glad you got it that way. Now I got one last thing. I said that was my last thing, but I got to get to the important shit. Enough about the bodybuilding and your story. What is this fucking chocolate bar? This is the important stuff. I've never heard of this. What is this? A King's chocolate bar? What did you call it?
A heavyweight chocolate bar. So there was a sheriff in Texas that opened a company with his wife. It's strictly like a post-show treat. They have no idea the macros on these bars, and they're stuffed chocolate bars. So they're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2,000 calories a piece.
Oh, wow.
If you look them up on Instagram, I think it's like oh, you know what? They're in my bio.
Okay, I'm looking it up right now because anyone that knows us in our show, we're all about being fat asses with our treats. Let me see. I'm gonna look. Oh, heavyweight chocolate. All right, let's take a look at this. Share.
If that's what we're all about, you know what? I'm gonna get yelled at about this.
Oh, okay. I'm seeing it right now.
Yep.
Oh, these look awesome.
They sure do.
This one's what this looks like, a cookie dough bar. Oh my goodness.
Oh, the Fit Butter collab that they did.
Yeah, so is that what they did? A Fit Butter collab with that? That's cool.
Well, I guess I got a little something special for you because I have a couple of them in the fridge still.
This looks crazy. And it looks like Phil Heath's got a Dubai chocolate bar one.
Oh yeah, Phil Heath cracked open the whole new drop, which I can actually do one for you right now. I'm gonna get yelled at for this.
What's that? What are you doing?
I got up and headed out to the kitchen, but we've got a peaches and cream.
Oh, that's awesome.
right here. So I guess I'll pop this one open with you.
Dude, that thing's massive, right?
Dude, they're huge.
That's cool. What flavors did you get?
They sent me one that was like kind of a s'moresy one. I was not able to pinpoint which one it was, and that was the one that I had after the show. I think this one's a peaches and cream, and then a blueberry muffin they sent me.
Yeah, I think I just saw they had a peach cobbler. So that's what it looks like, a peach.
This definitely looks like the peach cobbler, doesn't it?
Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they packed that full. That's good.
Yep. This is definitely the peach cobbler. It's like pretzel. Oh, no, this is carrot cake, I think.
Oh, is that what it is? Carrot cake? Is it? It looks fucking fantastic. Good for you. Well, that's one way of getting your bar is tagging them and saying, I need this. Good for you.
Well, I mean, you see viral videos of people doing that all the time, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
And I know they're a smaller company that's growing, so I know it'd be hard to get their attention.
Yeah.
I tried to buy the chocolate on one of the drops and couldn't get it. It sells out in like a minute.
Yeah. That's great. Well, good for them. Yeah, that definitely looks like a bodybuilder's post-show treat.
Yeah, like I just took a bite of that. I'll probably have a quarter of it and put it back in the fridge.
Yeah, that's kind of how we are. It's funny. My wife and I discovered Dubai chocolate only like, I don't know, 9 months ago, a year ago, and now she's obsessed. And
this tastes like a cake.
Yeah, it must be the carrot cake. Good stuff, man.
That's really good.
I'm gonna follow them right now. It's funny. My wife, she just did the New York Pro. What was it, like May 6th or something? But
yep.
She literally got a bunch of Dubai chocolates that she collected while she was on prep, like different Russell Stover's ones, different candy bars, really fancy ones, and she literally put them in our. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, she got some of the really fancy ones, and she actually, of all things, while she's on prep, she stuffed them in my safe, so that way she didn't get to them.
The safe's a weird place to keep the chocolate, though.
Yeah, well, if the house burned down, we'd have a little cash and some candy bars, so that was worth it. You know.
Fair enough. I guess I kind of did the same thing. My teammate Austin stocked up real bad on his prep. I don't think that's a good thing to do, though.
Yeah, I'm weird. Like I literally won't have a cheat meal post show for like 3 or 4 weeks. I kind of let my body stabilize. Like I can be a water buffalo. So if I did, like, I'll have a meal or like a breakfast post show, but I don't go nuts on anything because I'll just swell up like 10 pounds of water weight, and then it's going to take you a week and a half to clean up if you're not wise about it. So
I did that.
Did you? Yeah,
I did do that.
That's half the fun.
I don't know if you saw the video of me eating that burger at Boise Fry Company there, but
yeah,
I definitely I had a full tray of fries too, but it was shortly after that I got back to the hotel, and I think I was like, all right, I want one sweet and then I'm good. I took like one bite of a sweet when I got back to the hotel and was just like, ugh, I want strawberries.
Yeah.
And it's been like that since. Like, I don't really want to eat like all that crappy food I was dreaming about eating. Don't want it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll talk about what I want. I want pancakes. I want this. I want that. And it ends up being just a giant bowl of cream of rice that I binge on at the end of the night or something post show.
I got a ton of cream of rice. That was actually one of the biggest things while I was out in Idaho. There's a little supplement shop called Jack's Nutrition.
Yeah.
And they felt like undisputed, like way back in the day when I went in there. I've started working with them. I got a code for them now. But they make their own supplements in-house.
Oh, really?
Some of them. So they have outside products, but they also have their own proteins, own pre-workouts, all that kind of stuff that the owner formulates.
That's cool. And what are they called?
Jack's Nutrition.
Jack's Nutrition. And what's your code?
Malik Shakier.
Awesome.
But they wound up sending me home with like 5 jugs of protein, a bunch of barbells, a bunch of those like my cookie dealer protein snacks.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm just pretty stocked up on all healthy stuff to keep my macros in check.
Yeah, you're good for another year with sweets.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Hey, well, I really appreciate you coming on, man. And I'm just going to end this recording and I'll chat with you for a second. But yeah, everybody just check out Malik's IG there. Anything you need to talk to him about, just reach out. Like he said, he's very open and easy to talk to and welcoming of that. And the next time you guys see, I encourage everybody to take a look at some of the wheelchair bodybuilding divisions. They have them at the Olympia. They've got them, of course, a bunch of different pro shows that they do participate in. And I think it'll really blow your mind if you haven't seen it. It's just like anything else, like some of these athletes that step on the stage in bodybuilding, it just blows your mind what they can do with their bodies, and yourself included, man. I was just floored with your physique, and it's really cool. And I wish you nothing but the best for it. And I think you're going to be very successful with spreading the word. You seem motivated and you seem like that this is something you truly want to do, and it's not just a fluke. And I wish you the best on the rest of things. You know, hopefully you only improve better in your recovery aspects, and you know, get more function coming back to yourself over time, and wish you the best. So anything that we can do on Team Bluecollar, reach out to us, and we're there for you.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And just want to give one more last little plug for seeing some of the other wheelchair athletes. The guys that do want to post content, most of the time share it with the Wheelchair Bodybuilding Instagram page.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole bunch of us that are tagged on the Wheelchair Bodybuilding page, all different types of content, from just like everyday life to bodybuilding, or what some of us might go through being injured, or so that might be another good one to check out if you're interested in seeing more of us as well.
Yeah, I'll get the info and I'll put it in the description below so everybody can check that out as well. Yeah, and anybody that's you know, wants to reach out to Bluecollar as well, we're happy to find time to give you to tell your story and just motivate others. I'm all about the more people. The reason I sponsored the Northeast when it comes to and started with Rhode Island is I'm a big fan of bodybuilding, of course, but I want to do what's best for my immediate community because I know I can make an impact there. So Jackie and I wanted to make sure we put our money where our mouth is and sponsor these shows and get as many athletes kind of motivated as we can and just make it accessible. And I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're talking about is bodybuilding, whether it's wheelchair, able-bodied, bikini, women's bodybuilding, it doesn't matter. Accessibility and having people have a little knowledge and feeling free to just talk to us about it is huge. That's how we get this whole sport to rise together, is you know, just putting it on the forefront and being a team. So I'm happy that I got to have you on, man, and wish you the best, my man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, man. Well, everybody, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Be good, grip it and rip it.
Have a good one.